correct stuff and get it black stuff that has some reinforcing in it, like a fuel line. This you still have some spare left, but I'm a race guy from the last 40 years, so I'm interested in performance, whether it's motorcycles or cars or SAE cars or whatever it happens to be, and so it's a personal interest of mine. Probably 6 or 7 years we've been making parts for them, but pretty financially adding money and parts probably the last 3 or 4 years. My brother Jim there, he puts a lot of time in of his and helping him with car design and chassis setups and suspension components, so he's got a great knowledge in that respect.
Well, actually, I decided to work with the team because I was drafted by my brother, who's the K's engineering part of the sponsorship, and he had gotten frustrated. The guys were having a hard time and they didn't have anybody to teach or help or guide, so he talked me into coming and helping, and we kind of stuck with it after that. The group is a real good group and it's great working with smart people, so that's kind of how I got involved with it. I've been involved in motor racing since I was a little kid. Ed and I both used to get a ride out to the local dirt track when I was 13 or 14 and Ed was 2 years younger. They've been doing much better each year, and in fact you can see the physical difference in the cars each year in both the design level and the execution. This year is probably the best one they've ever built, certainly from a manufacturing and execution level.
I think my brother and I are going to drive up for the competition this year in Michigan to see him perform. So yeah, I think we're going to drive up and watch.
Boston remake one of these out of his phone.
You were still right though.
I know I was right.
And a nice
It's very rewarding to be able to actually sit in the car that I spent so much time working on and building. It's very rewarding, I guess, and it's a lot of fun too.
Smell like mint, smell like Christmas.
The car handles very well through corners and acceleration and braking. It definitely accelerates properly in the way it should. Cornering, it turns right in every time. We have a bit of an issue with it oversteering kind of towards the exit of the corner. And we've had some issues with the engine, and that's sort of all related to the tune we have on the motor and how we have it set up, because we have sort of a loss of knowledge from previous years. People who were really good at tuning the engines all graduated, so now we're kind of floundering to figure out exactly what we're doing wrong in that respect, but we've managed to get it to a point where it runs, maybe not as best as it could or quite perfectly, but it runs now. Well, for like testing, kind of our first thing we do is just kind of drive it around a little bit, make sure the engine runs correctly, make sure all the parts move, articulate. And then from there, it's sort of kind of doing basic suspension tuning, putting on a skid pad and making adjustments to the suspension from there, what the driver says is going on, what the people watching the car think is going on. Hitting a cone and breaking the wings, pretty big setback. You know, we had to spend a day to fix that, and that was the end of the night. And then besides that, the brakes are right there. Our brake balance is probably a little bit off, given that we haven't actually messed with it yet, but that'll change a little bit how well it handles going in and out of a corner. It's definitely different. Without aero and with aero is just a huge difference in terms of how hard you can push a car through a corner, and it's very noticeable. I guess about as positive as I could be, given the circumstances. Could be better, always could be better, but feeling pretty good about it.